Not one, not two, but three. Manchester City have completed their treble and finally have won that Champions League. I mean, what a sigh of relief that would be for their fans, players and especially for Pep Guardiola. Because from last 4 or 5 seasons, City would always start this tournament as their favourites. But ultimately, they were never able to live up to its expectation, as if there was a mental barrier that they just could not get over it. And just look at this match as well. Inter Milan was indeed a better team for most of the game. And you just started to sense that Manchester City is panicking. I mean, no matter how good they have played it before, Manchester City in Champions League always have found it very difficult. Many times they have played well and came so close to this trophy, but again they have panicked at a very wrong time. And that's why they had to suffer a lot in their last few years. But at the end today, they have overcome that mental barrier and have created history. First European title into the club's history and have become the only English side alongside Sir Alex Ferguson Manchester United to win a treble. Well, talking about Sir Alex Ferguson, you guys might remember that once he was asked, could City go into the Manchester derby as favourites? To that he replied, not in my lifetime. Well, to be honest, right now it's every time. And it's just not about Manchester derby. If you look at the state of both the clubs, it's so contrasting. And don't you dare to say it's because of money, because since 2018, Manchester United have spent more than Manchester City. And the City team that we are talking about right now, well, they have done it all. They have won treble this season, they have won domestic quadruple, they were the Centurions, and also they have did the three-peat of Premier League. So it's high time that we should start putting some respect on their names. Because whatever they have achieved by playing their own brand of football. And which is the reason why people are already comparing this City side to some of the greatest football team that people have ever watched. And I wonder, do people talk same about that treble winning side of Sir Alex Ferguson? Well, the answer is close to no, and that is why this treble of City is some of the best or one of the best from any English club. Because this first Champions League of Manchester City would be remembered for more over 100 years because the way they have won it. They have won it in some style that the man behind this glory is of course Pep Guardiola. Before winning Champions League, there was always a question mark about his time at Manchester City. Even though he won a lot of titles with the club, but people always overlooked it and never appreciated his domestic dominance. And also when it comes to winning Champions Leagues, people always have complained that he had that unfair advantage. He had Messi, Xavi, Iniesta and other great players. But then he moved to Bayern Munich to prove them wrong, but wasn't able to win Champions League with them. Anyway, the next he took over City where he started everything from scratch. And the City team that you are looking today is the work of 6 years. It's not a one-season wonder team, it's an art of Pep Guardiola that took him 6 years to create it. And that is why now ultimately people just cannot doubt him because he have won that ultimate prize, the Champions League, which is enough to shut the critics. And with this title, he became the first ever manager in football's history to win treble 2 times. So now, let me just ask you, is Pep Guardiola greatest of all time? Let me know your answers in comments. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about game. Well, first of all, kudos to Inter Milan because the way they have played against an informed Manchester City side. I mean, in this season, I haven't seen anyone found this easy to stop City from progressing. The pressing structure of Inter Milan, their intensity, their off-the-ball structure, everything was perfect from Inzaghi today. He did so well to cut off all sorts of routes to Manchester City's midfielders. I mean, we didn't saw Manchester City bowling out on those half spaces. And that is why you gotta give credit to Inzaghi because in the first half, Manchester City was lost and was almost panicked. Plus once again Kevin De Bruyne was injured in another final. That again made their first half more terrible. But with the start of second half, they started playing with more authority. And that second half was all about John Stones. I mean, what a season this guy has had. And in today's game as well, he was the one who rescued Manchester City because his positioning was so smart today to make himself free, which allowed City to progress more and more into the final third. And finally, into that 69th minute, goal came from Rodri, which was actually an outstanding finish. Inter Milan did responded it quite well and they came so close to scoring an equalizer, but again, Lukaku, man, Lukaku just can't catch a break. First got unfollowed by his bird and now just lost a Champions League final. I mean, there is a tough time ahead for him, man. Anyway, throughout the game, Inter had better chances. Their XG speaks for themselves. But Manchester City's goalkeeper came in clutch. His 2 saves. One of the most important saves in club's history, especially that last one, which kept that delicate lead intact from Manchester City. And due to that save, they were crowned as champions. So ultimately, City suffered to win and Inter Milan surprised everyone. Because no one expected them to be this good, this aggressive and this intense. Everyone thought they will just park the bus and look out for the counter attacks. But kudos to them because it's not easy to stop Haaland, Gundogan, Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden, Jack Grealish. It's never gonna be easy, but they did it. On the other hand, City suffered and survived that storm from Inter Milan. And maybe they had this kind of Champions luck, who knows, but whatever, it's their first European titles in the club's history. That is why that suffering gets even more special. Man City is a club that spent 10 seasons in the third tier of English football from 1988 to 1999. So for fans like him, who have seen the worst, we guys just can't imagine what this Champions League triumph means to them. Well, people always mock City about their fan base. Well, the truth is that it's all lies which internet is feeding you. I know so many people who are die-hard fan of this club, and when I ask them why do you support them, the answer they gave is quite beautiful. They said that they literally saw the evolution, they literally saw the rise of a small club like Manchester City turning to a big giant. Because from that very moment to this, it's quite a remarkable journey. Of course, you will again debate that it's all because of oil money, blah blah blah. Bro, hear me out. The club was taken over by Sheikh in 2008, so it almost took 15 years for Manchester City to win their first Champions League. So do you think it's that easy? Is it that easy? Well, let's face it again. Let's face it, man. In today's modern football, in today's era, you need money. You need money to be successful. Like when a club like Real Madrid spends 100 million on a player, no one says a word. But when Manchester City does that, they discredit their success. I mean, it's just not fair. But anyway, I do hope now people should start appreciating their success a little bit more. And even if you don't, then bro, there are some tough times waiting ahead of you. Because they just have broken a mental barrier which troubled them in Champions League. And now as they have smashed it, it could be a start of new era, or it could be a start of an unreal dominance from Manchester City in Europe, where the question won't be of how they have won it, but would be of how many they will win it. So that's it for today, guys. Do let me know your thoughts about this treble winning side of Manchester City. Do let me know your thoughts all about in the comments down below. And well, first of all, there is a great coincidence because at the start of this season, the first video I made was about Manchester City and like how Erling Haaland is changing this City side. 10 months apart, we are here talking about Manchester City winning Champions League. Anyway, let me know your opinions and make sure you like and share this video and make sure you subscribe the channel. Make sure you do subscribe the channel. And as usual, I'll meet you soon with another new video. Until that time, as you all know, just enjoy the game.